Hello, I'm Jonasz Rewiński and you're watching Break the Fake. They make them, we break them, and tell you everything you need to know. Okay, for those of you people suffering from PSTD, post-Stranger Things disorder, as well as those who don't know what to binge watch next in general, we've got a few proposals. There is the recent reality TV blockbuster comedy Dude, Where Is My Dictator that everybody's been crazy about right now, but we've also got other ideas, like the long-running series Better Call Vlad, a legal drama / parody about Russia and international law. So, what's on tonight? Well, Russia's permanent representative to the UN, Vasily Nebenzia, solemnly declared that Moscow strongly condemns the US for its act of armed aggression against Venezuela. Yes, that's right, that Russia, the very same one. According to Nebenzia, the American operation in Venezuela is allegedly, and I quote, a harbinger of a return to an era of lawlessness and forceful domination.
Лидер Венесуэлы, сопровождавшийся гибелью нескольких десятков венесуэльских и кубинских граждан, стал в глазах многих предвестником возвращения в эпоху бесправия и силового американского доминирования, хаоса и беззакония, от которого продолжают страдать десятки государств различных регионов мира. Для преступления, цинично совершенного Соединенными Штатами в Каракасе, нет и не может быть никаких оправданий. Решительно осуждаем акт вооруженной агрессии Соединенных Штатов против Венесуэлы в нарушении всех международно-правовых норм.
A representative of a state that invaded Ukraine, shells civilian infrastructure on a daily basis, annexed territories of a neighboring country, bombed Syrian cities for years, now gives lectures on the inadmissibility of aggression. This is no longer just double standards, it is a masterclass in political acrobatics. By declaring the return of an era of lawlessness, Moscow seems to be concerned about competition, actually, because it has been working in this era for a long time, without days off or lunch breaks, actually. Here, I would like to clarify. Does the Russian Federation condemn US aggression as a phenomenon or as a monopoly? This scene is familiar. A Russian diplomat with a serious expression reads a text about sovereignty, international law, and the inadmissibility of violence. If Moscow is to be believed, the problem is not the aggression itself, but who is carrying it out. When the Kremlin does it, it is a special operation, protection, or historical justice. When someone else does it, though, it is lawlessness and forceful domination. And if Russia today condemns aggression, it means only one thing. It strongly disapproves when someone else yoinks a friendly dictator and marches him into a courtroom. Who knows? Maybe because they fear they could be the next in line. Although I hear a loud objection, hearsay coming my way for that one. So, I rest my case, Your Honor. Does anyone still remember those alleged Ukrainian attacks on Putin's Valdai residence? Yes, that's right. The one that the Kremlin conjured out of thin air to disrupt peace negotiations. Well, recently, a video spread across the Russian internet with the vigor of a spring virus, showing someone somewhere seemingly trying to do an impromptu episode of Extreme Makeover at Putin's mansion. And guess what? It's not even real. Can you believe that? You know the general idea about strike drones, right? Why we refer to them using a word that will get you demonetized or even banned on social media? You know the one? If not, I'll give you a hint. It rhymes with pesticide. Yes, because those drones explode upon impact. Definitely not hovering menacingly above the target like UFOs from Independence Day. And then, suddenly, one of them explodes mid-air, but also launches some weird projectile? and the other one does a cinematic flyover and escapes? You couldn't make it any more AI sloppy, even if you added a huge cat with a sledgehammer. Also, it is worth remembering that one residence of the bunker Grandpa, you know the guy, is guarded by 12 air defense systems, only 5 times less than the entire Moscow region, with a population of over 20 million people. No evidence of any Ukrainian drone even trying to get through this, but it seems Moscow is open to the idea that Ukraine would have gotten through if they wanted. But remember, they are the air defense experts who allegedly armed Venezuela to the teeth so that nobody would snatch the dictator within a runtime a few minutes longer than the Stranger Things series finale. But hey, what do I know? Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban has once again appeared in public with a geopolitical rebranding of himself. According to him, Hungary is not going anywhere, neither from NATO nor from the European Union. On the contrary, it is staying in order to change the West from within.
A nyugati szövetségi rendszer része akarunk maradni, és azt szeretnénk, hogyha a nyugati szövetségi rendszer a józanész alapján hozná meg a politikai döntéseit. Tehát mi nem elhagyni akarjuk a nyugati szövetségesi rendszert, nem ki akarunk abból lépni és egy semleges státuszba átsorolni, hanem azt akarjuk, hogy mind Brüsszelben, mind a NATO központban értelmes döntések szülessenek. A NATO-ban jobban állunk, mint korábban, mert ott most legalább az Egyesült Államok is azt mondja, amit mi, nem csak a szlovákok és nem csak a csehek. De Brüsszelben is jobban állunk, mint korábban álltunk, csak többségre kell jutni. Tehát Brüsszelt előbb-utóbb el kell foglalni, azt kell elérni, hogy Brüsszelben a békepárti erők többségre jussanak, épp úgy, ahogy ez megtörtént Washingtonban. Ezen dolgozunk. Hát ez egy küzdelem, vannak esélyek, ezért hoztuk létre a patriótákat. A patrióták egy olyan politikai csoportosulás Európában, amelynek az a célja, hogy a nemzeti szuverenitást visszaadja a tagállamoknak, a túlterjeszkedő brüsszeli birodalomépítési törekvéseket visszanyessük, a Brüsszel ismét az legyen, aminek lennie kell egy koordinációs központja az Európai Uniós országoknak, nem pedig egy hatalmi birodalmi központja, ami felé most tart. Tehát ezt meg akarjuk hozni, és egyébként pedig ki akarunk egyezni az oroszokkal, egy tartós békét akarunk Ukrajnába, általában a békegazdaság korszakát akarjuk visszahozni egész Európába. Ez a patrióták törekvése.
Now, calling the European Union an empire is the height of political irony. No one forced Hungary to join the EU. It was a sovereign decision, taken democratically. But today, in Orban's rhetoric, Brussels is a convenient monster with which to scare voters. Orban confidently declares that patriots will soon become the majority in Europe. So far, this majority looks rather peculiar. Hungary regularly finds itself isolated, in conflict with its partners and playing the role of a Trojan horse in Western institutions. Now, staying in the European Union and NATO in order to change them is like living in an apartment building, constantly criticizing the Homeowners Association, not paying the rent, but also expressing outrage at the very notion that electricity and security could be turned off one day. Orban's rhetoric is not about reforming the West or about common sense. It is a guide on how to use Western institutions without sharing Western values. To remain in the EU and NATO not as a partner, but as a constant blackmailer, with the right of veto, by the way, to take money and at the same time declare the donors an empire. Orban wants a Europe without rules, but with full subsidies, an alliance without solidarity, sovereignty without responsibility. And if only this was some nonsense about bananas being too bendy that he had been objecting to within the EU, but no. Orban chose to make it his mission to try and slow down or derail Ukraine aid programs. Of course, he's saying it's, being pro-peace and all that, but really. And of course, the stuff related to Russian energy, that's another thing that he's objecting to, and this is related because buying Russian oil and gas empowers the aggressor's state. Again, what was that about Orban having a beef with empires? Or was it only fictional ones? In which case, after he's done with the EU, he'll probably go after Darth Vader next, because the very real Russian imperialism is obviously fine. And with this, we conclude this edition of Break the Fake. Please stay with us here on TVP World for more latest news and updates.